Covered. Here's a look at Augustinaite. Now the bigs as Fatih Jahate wins the opening tip against Hadley Perriman. We're off and running on this intense ACC match early in the year, but both coaches emphasize the importance of today as the first look from the right wing of Michaela Johnson's layup is no good. And we look at Clemson's starting five and coach working her way into it. Hadley Perriman named the most consistent player on the team by Coach Poppie.
Yeah, I really like the way she rebounds the basketball. And she also is capable of stepping out and shooting the three with a pick and pop.
With it now, the transfer from Chattanooga in her second season at Clemson, Raven Thompson dishes it out to Perriman. And a loose rebound brought in by the freshman from Canada, one of the starting five in Megan Hollingsworth, making just her second start. This is a international flavor from Pitt, just one starter from the continental United States in Theresa Hagans Jr. as Michaela Johnson, the Alaskan junior, misses from the wing. And we see a couple of these Clemson looks from the outside. What are you trying to see from Clemson here, trying to shake the webs of a tough road trip?
Well, I'd like to see some touches in the paint there, first of all, and kick it out for the three, maybe.
Well, here's Villegas, the threat from the perimeter, as she'll drive on Augustinaite, dish it into Hollingsworth, and the 6-foot freshman can't connect, defended by Mia Moore, Clemson's top scorer, the senior from Alpharetta, who is so consistent with the ball in her hands. She's second in the ACC in assist-to-turnover ratio.
Yeah, she's having a really good year. Really she is so quick, so athletic, gets the ball to the basket. Very well.
Fifth in the conference in assists, and maybe a little disconnect from a week off for the Tigers with a couple turnovers as Theresa Hagans Jr., the freshman from New York, lifts the lid 2 minutes in and gets an and one here with 8:07 to play in the first.
Yeah, both teams really struggling to shoot the ball very early on in the first couple of minutes of the game. Turnover there by Mia Moore, and here we go. Transition basketball, a little bump there. You know, they've changed the continuation rule this year, and after that dribble, she was on her way up, and they called the basket good. That was a very fine finish.
Hagans averaging over 7.5 points per game. Gives the Panthers the lead as Rachael Rose comes off the bench, and she's stripped by Hagans. 3 early Panther turnovers. We'll tell you about last year's meeting when it was Clemson who had the sticky fingers as the Panthers lead 5-zip. Panther defense making it tough on this Clemson half-court offense, but Rachael Rose will settle in. Transfer from Wofford, who's looking to still make her mark in the ACC. 10 seconds to shoot. Clemson looking for their first bucket, and it's Augustinaite. Drills it. And that's going to be the showcase tonight for Clemson, huh?
We hope so. Pitt is in the 2-2-1 three-quarter court press, falling back into the 2-3 zone, so best way to beat the zone is make those outside shots.
Johnson drills it. You take a look. Clemson trying to tie the all-time series last season. Despite the Tigers having 20 more turnovers, Pitt had their ACC record broken with a 60% field goal mark. So both these teams certainly looking at that matchup from a season ago with a bevy of new names, including Augustinaite, who will work her way to the free throw line on a foul drawn as Fatih Jahate, the 6'5" transfer from Georgia, is someone that Pitt is going to try to keep out of foul trouble there, number 21 down in the post.
Yeah, she is foul prone, to be honest with you, but she certainly is a 6'5" presence with a long arm span.
And Coach, they gave her a break there for Fatih. The foul went on the trailer in Hagans.
Okay.
The Lithuanian drills the first, and we introduce you to the third-year head coach, Tori Verdi, who is a Hall of Famer up in New Britain in the Northeast. He coached for the WNBA squad in Connecticut Sun, broke records with UMass as well, and he brings that grit to the Pittsburgh Panthers squad.
He does, and you know, we had the conference call with him there on Wednesday, and he thinks this basketball team can make a name for themselves.
Pitt had their best season in 3 years with 13 wins, 5 of them in the ACC last year, as Villegas takes a rare two-pointer Loose rebound right back to her as Johnson, hot hand early. Over the back, whistled against Hollingsworth, and these teams living up to the hype so far. Shawn Poppie brought this aggressive mindset to the upstate, where he had so much success at Chattanooga, and all he did was hit the recruiting trail hard here, Coach. Top 5 class announced a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, people tend to forget what he did last year. He was left with nothing and put a competitive team on the court. So I just thought he did a great coaching job last year as well.
Yep, Tigers had 6 wins in the ACC. Pitt had 5. 2 very similar squads trying to rebuild and work their way up a very tough conference as Taylor Johnson-Matthews off the bench takes the baseline jumper. And right now the lid is a little bit tighter for these two sides, trying to find a rhythm on a Sunday afternoon as Hagans moves well, and she has that New York guard form to her, doesn't she?
Coach is from New York, so he's recruiting that area without a doubt, and Canada.
Hagans a top 100 recruit and a 4-star, according to ESPN, for the freshman, as Pitt leads 9-5. Midway through this first quarter as Raven Thompson misses short. That long frame from Jahate certainly interrupted that shot. This is Johnson working her way into the post. Good job by Thompson to hold her own, and Perriman skies in for the board.
Good rebound.
Augustinaite. She also does not take too many 2-point shots, but able to work her way in, wiggling down that post game, and it's 9-7.
She's pretty good off the bounce, mid-range.
Rusne earns just her 8th start of the season, becoming more of a mainstay in the 5. As Hollingsworth making just her 2nd, cannot connect, posted up against Thompson. Moore looking to run. Raven up and under. She's coming off 2 perfect games from the field, 6 for her last 6, and we're tied at 9.
I used to speak on attacking zones, and I had 12 ways to attack a zone. The best one to beat it down the floor.
Both coaches want their transition game to improve, and there's some grittiness as Johnson-Matthews leaves her feet, and the jump ball takes us to timeout.
Some recognition to the league.
Yeah, Duke off to a slow start, 4-6 overall, but 1-0 in the ACC. As Pitt hoping to join them in the ranks atop the conference. As we've got a defensive heavy start to this one as Taylor Johnson-Matthews, the transfer from DePaul, shows Clemson fans their first lead here today. Tigers defense has forced a few extra turnovers since the start as Lauren Rust and Jada Quealy come off the bench for Pitt, as well as the tall 6'5" freshman Angela Lafau, number 10 down low. There's Lafau hustling for a loose ball, and it'll be the 2nd consecutive held ball. Clemson will take over here with 3:41 to go in the quarter.
That was a good job of helping there by a good finish there by Johnson-Matthews, and she had a great game against Appalachian State. But that was a great job on defense right there, pinching by Hines, creating that loose ball and the tie-up.
Now Michaela Johnson whistled for a dead ball foul there before the toss-in. And you mentioned Johnson-Matthews, 3 of her last 4 games, Coach. She's had 10 or more points, and now a turnover forced by the senior. Augustinaite on the dish from Thompson, and that's a foul and the bucket. And the Tigers are on a roll, 7-0 run.
Defense creating offense there for the Tigers. Good steal by Johnson-Matthews. Got a finger on that ball and chased it down. Here we go. Raven makes a good timely pass to Augustinaite, who finishes.
Lithuania U20 player last season for Augustinaite, who had 17 points against Louisville and Michigan State out in the Bahamas over Thanksgiving break. And now some clarifications allow Perriman to check in. You talk about App State. Clemson got off of a tough trip to Tuscaloosa in that ACC-SEC challenge. Bounced back nicely with 19-point victory against the Mountaineers last Sunday.
Well, Clemson's lost 4 games, but all 4 of them are two teams that currently are ranked in the top 25.
Yep, all losses, quad 1 losses for the Tigers, hoping for an opportunity to play their way in as an at-large team. And if they continue on this trend and avoid the bad losses, I think Coach Poppie knows that they might be 1 or 2 big wins away. Let's take a look at this bump foul from Augustinaite. And then off picture, a throwaway by Pitt gives it right back to Clemson. So 14-9, and the Tigers are rolling. They have not allowed a point in over 2.5 minutes.
Don't say anything to Coach Poppie about an at-large bid now. He wants to win the ACC championship.
Oh, yeah. What is it? You shoot for the stars, and if you fall, you land in the clouds.
Exactly.
Just over 3 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Johnson Matthews from just shy of that Tiger print logo, and it's 17-9 Tigers.
Clemson on a pretty good run here.
Swarming defense forces Quealy on a tough handoff. The foul is whistled against Johnson Matthews. Take me through Mia Moore's technique here on this deep shot.
Yeah, well, that's just a standing jump shot from beyond the arc there, and that finished off a 12-0 run for Clemson.
Tigers have forced 3 turnovers in that stretch. Out of fouls to give. Both teams in the bonus for the rest of the quarter. There's a Mia Jenkins, the transfer from Kentucky, who short arms a deep 3. And when you have momentum moving like this, would you rather feed it inside or work the perimeter game?
I've always said basketball games are won and lost on the block and on the free throw line. And you don't get to the free throw line very often if you can't get it to the block.
There's more. Hounded in the corner by Jenkins. Off to Demira Hines. Tiger fans hoping Hines can use that size in this matchup. But the Panthers have Jahate on the bench, so a small lineup in blue. 3 seconds to shoot. Augustinaite throws up the offensive chance for Hines, who cleans it up, and it's 19-9 into a Pitt timeout.
That might get Hines cranked up a little bit. She's been struck.
2 minutes of this first quarter. Clemson has avoided finding themselves behind the shot clock. They've taken early shots, and it has paid off as another turnover. This time it's Perriman who gets the loose ball. A look at Augustinaite's hot start. She'll feed it inside. Already an assist as well for Rusne as Hines gets stripped. Possession stays.
Gotta go up with that one. Big 6'3" frame. Power layup right there. 14 on the shot clock.
And in comes the 6'5" senior from Senegal in Jahate. Trying to match up with Hines, the Wake Forest transfer. Less than 10 to shoot for Rose. Johnson Matthews steps back, gets some contact. You could tell in the shot. No call, and Clemson with an empty possession for the first time in quite some time.
Yep.
Coming into this one, Coach Poppie made it clear to his team how important the win would be, and you don't often see that in December in conference play. But with the loss to Louisville, the Tigers want to avoid starting the season 0-2. Hollingsworth can't get the roll, and Augustinaite is picking up stats all over the floor.
Good rebound. Pitt has gone man-to-man. Clemson shot him out of that zone.
Under a minute to play in the opening quarter. Tigers have had stone-cold defense. Pitt has not scored in 5 minutes. A chance for a 2-for-1 here as Villegas has to pick up her dribble in the corner. Off to Hagans. Get by Rose, good coverage. Hines helps in and picks up the rebound.
Clemson doing a good job on Villegas. She has not got off a three-point field goal attempt as of yet. They're on her toes.
Coach, the team in Pitt is only 0 for 3 from distance as Augustinaite, and the Tigers are 3 for 6 and a 17-0 run.
Good screen by Hines there to create that open look.
Shot clock is off. Villegas Out to Johnson, and it's brought in by Rose. She knows that there is time. 2 seconds to shoot. Perriman off the mark. The Clemson Tigers finish the first quarter on a 17-0. Augustinaite steal as well has held Pitt scoreless for 6+ minutes now. As I'll take you back in, Rusne, 6 games this season with double-digit scoring. She has not done it in the first quarter yet, though, as Pitt's woes continue on offense. Hollingsworth with the travel, and we take a look at our game trends, as it was a strong start for Theresa Hagans Jr., but you take a look at that run for Clemson as it continues into the second quarter. What would you change if you're Pitt?
Well, obviously you got to take better care of the basketball. Those turnovers are the nemesis. I don't know that I would change anything except get out there on those three-point shooters like Clemson's done with Villegas.
Tigers rolling with the hot hands. A tough fadeaway jumper for Augustinaite. Now running are the Panthers. Johnson creates contact, and Michaela Johnson really came into her own in ACC play last season. She averaged 11, scored double figures in her last 6 games, where Pitt needed to finish 4-4, and they did to make the ACC tournament, as they're going to call that a non-shooting foul, it looks like, unless they're just waiting on Michaela Johnson's health.
Augustinaite stayed down and defended against the outlet pass there with the rebounder. She got behind her man, and Hines did not pick her up in time. She did pick her up, but poor communication there.
And it is a shooting foul for Johnson out of Anchorage, Alaska, the lone returner for Pitt. Said goodbye to one of the best in their program's history, and Hadija Faye, who had over 1,000 points. But they replaced her with Fatih Jahate, who was a little bit more of a sidekick in Georgia. And we talked to Coach Verdi, who wants Jahate to go from being a Robin to a Batman. We haven't seen it yet through a quarter for number 21 in blue. A slip pass into Hines, taken away cleanly by Hagans Jr. So drive in on Kohn and finish. So Theresa Hagans Jr. leads the team with 9 points. Daughter of Theresa Hagans. Not something you see every day there, as the Palmetto rivalry renewed Tuesday night here at Littlejohn on ESPN2 between the Gamecocks and the Tigers. That's Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Good punch out there under the boards, picked up by Rose. Second possession earned by Clemson. Under 10 to shoot. Hines picked up her dribble. Rachael Rose drives with the left, and that's a pleasant sight for Clemson fans as Rachael Rose stretches the lead back to 12. Villegas tries to find a spot and force the three, and if you're Clemson, that's what you want, huh?
Absolutely.
Kohn in transition, one of the best three-point shooters in Chattanooga history. Last year had almost 80 for the Tigers, and she's got Clemson rolling. 27-12, a 15-point lead, the largest of the day. Johnson stripped by Rose, and that is turnover number 6 forced by Clemson. Oh, Moore, I think, stepped on the shoe of Jahate. And Coach, when you've got offense like this, how do you defend it?
Well, she just lowered her shoulder right there, put her head down, and took it to the basket with authority, and that was very aggressive. And then Hannah Kohn, it's so good to see that 3-shot going in for her. She's been in a little bit of a slump compared to what she's done in her early career at Chattanooga and here.
Yeah, Kohn averaged 9 a game last season, had 15 at Pitt in that loss back in February of last year, but Kohn is sitting at around 5 points per game here this year, you mentioned. Empty trip for Mia Moore, who is a 55% free throw shooter.
She has struggled from the free throw line this year, and I don't understand that.
Jahate does a good job finding an open three-point threat. Hollingsworth has not been able to take advantage of the start earned. She's 0 for 4 early. Rose over Jahate. That is quite a wingspan. Thompson gets it back to Kohn. The Tigers are triggering from 3.
On time.
Look there at Cohn's near record-setting season, her first year at Clemson a season ago, as Tigers have ridden 5 three-point shots, 4 of them made by Augustinaite and Kohn, as Mia Moore has the other. She'll take this across the timeline. A snag made by Rachael Rose, as Pitt has struggled mightily. They scored 9 points in the first quarter, only 3 here in just about 4 minutes of action in the second, but there's a deflection. Hagans and Hollingsworth connect on the turnover.
Rachael Rose got to recognize the passing lane.
Hagans quick to that baseline, able to beat Thompson. She's got 11. But right now the story is Clemson shooting. They're coming off of a record-setting performance last week against App State, shooting 54%. At the moment, they sit at 55%. The best of the season if it continues, as Rose gets by Jenkins. Good extra pass by Thompson, and Rachael Rose connects.
One more pass, and Rose gets a wide open look.
Mia Moore started that sequence, and she'll pick up another loose ball. Points off of turnovers. So pivotal for Clemson. They've got 10 of them and lead by 21.
Good defense, good active hands.
Hagans has been the majority of scoring, 11 of the 14. And you could add 3 more to it. Theresa Hagans Jr. is 6 for 7 from the field.
See, they haven't been able to score, so they haven't been able to get into the 2-2-1 press until now.
In fact, Hagans is the only Panther on the floor with a point, but Kohn answers with a haymaker. That's a bit of a discouraging look if you hit a 3 and you watch the team that can't miss continue their success, as Jahate misses from point-blank range, and the Tigers can now try to work off of their largest lead of 21. Perriman will stretch it to 24, and this is can't-miss range for everyone in white.
Hadley's been shooting that 3 pretty well. She missed one earlier, but she had 2 threes against App State in the last outing.
Tigers have 8 three-point makes with nearly 4 minutes to play in the first half. Villegas, unorthodox shooting motion there. She has been forced into a couple uncomfortable threes. Conference's leader in threes per game with 3 of them. As Thompson found her spot, could not get the roll there. That's the Tigers' first missed field goal in their last 6 tries.
Can't complain about that shot, though. That was an excellent job getting the ball down the floor quickly.
Jenkins bumped by Rose. And again, Clemson has had deja vu turning defense to offense here.
Yep, good job by Rachael Rose getting a hand in there, creating that, and then Hannah Cohn's out quickly on the break, and Mia Moore delivers the mail.
Now, Pitt has forced 6 turnovers, and you see they're 8 points off of turnovers as Clemson able to create another one here on the inbound pass under the hoop. It has been sloppiness from the Panthers. The Tigers have taken advantage. Augustinaite from the baseline, and that one was halfway down before Lauren Rust flew in for the board.
Yeah, once again, good shot.
Villegas, same 360 spiral technique off the rim, and this one will stay on this end with some hustle on that loose ball. Demira Hines, the grad transfer from Douglasville, Georgia, Coach Poppie looking for a little bit more consistency from her. Moved her to the bench. She has answered here today with some physicality. That low post spot as Pitt cannot find a look from distance.
That's 1 of 10 from three-point range for Pitt. And I'll have to say, Clemson's doing a decent job keeping those high hands and making them shoot difficult threes.
Pitt shooting 28% compared to Clemson's 58%. Augustinaite has 5 to shoot. She's leading the team with 13 points. Needs to throw one up here, and that's great defense by Hagans Jr., creating the shot clock violation.
Not a good possession.
This is the one to watch. Look at those multicolored shoes for Hagans Jr. as well. She's got 14 of the team's 17 as Michaela Johnson has the other 3 and will look to make it.
She is a 69% free throw shooter coming into the game. Makes both.
2 minutes to play in this first half. Clemson finished the first quarter on a 17-0 run. Went on another 8-0 run here midway through the second. Lead by 22. Taylor Johnson-Matthews adding another layer of a scoring threat. But she takes too many steps here, and we'll let you know that coming up at the half, you're going to hear from Coach Davis and Don Munson talking about the legendary Barbara Kennedy Dixon Hall of Fame career, honored posthumously entering this season, and just a teaser of a terrific segment coming up in a couple minutes as Hines with a grown woman rebound there.
In traffic. There's a difference between a rebound and a rebound in traffic.
That's her 3rd rebound. Hines swatted away by Jahate. Her 17th block of the season. Good for top 10 in the ACC.
Yeah, she had 8 blocks against Central Connecticut. 8 blocks in one game.
That'll help the stats.
Yeah.
So not a lot going right on the side of Tori Verdi. Thompson into triple coverage. It was well defended and tipped away by Jahate. Johnson baseline. All the rims are not helping the Panthers here. Clemson more than happy to carry a lead into the half. The question is,
2 for 1 here if they
that's the question.
play it just right.
Do they want to shoot quickly, get another chance at it, but instead it's a turnover as Johnson-Matthews steps on that sideline. Kohn with 11, Augustinaite with 13, and Clemson out-rebounding Pitt 22-11. Rachael Rose checks back in for the Tigers. Lauren Rust out there for Pitt, and Nia Moore gets a little handsy. It's called for the off-ball foul, but Clemson had one to give. And now Moore skies to take away the pass. Oh, she tried to draw a foul with the shot clock off, so Pitt will have another chance here at the end of the second quarter. Villegas in trouble against Raven Thompson. Helps when you just throw it up, but Jahate cannot finish. So 4 seconds to shoot for Clemson. Moore. Rose gets blocked by Johnson, and a little chaotic energy scored in the paint for Pitt in that first half as Mia Moore crosses the timeline and kicks off our second half here at Littlejohn.
Pittsburgh turning up the heat a little bit, looks like. Switching guard to guard.
Moore Tries to set one up. Clemson did finish the second quarter without a bucket over the last 2.5 minutes. We know how dependent they are on that three-point game.
There's the double team.
Yep, comes to Jahate, leaves an open man, and that is Hollingsworth, the freshman from Ottawa, making her first bucket of the game. Second three-pointer for Pitt. 2 for 11 now. Augustinaite off to Thompson. Coach Poppie did tease he wants Raven to shoot a couple more threes, but why would you take it out of hands of number 11, Rusne Augustinaite out of Lithuania, her third three today.
Once again, another flare screen there for set by Hadley Pierman, and recognition by Raven Thompson making the pass.
Here's Megan Hollingsworth. Up and over with the right-hand hook. Rebounded by Thompson. 22 points for Pitt. 14 of them scored by number 1 in blue. We'll keep an eye on her and Hagans, as Kohn can't contribute. Hands by Augustinaite. Meanwhile, we talked about Clemson needing to get to those double teams. Watch what Pitt does out of it.
Yep, Raven Thompson comes to trap, and a post player that can pass the basketball is worth their weight in gold. So, really good pass out of there by Fatima.
Pitt kind of cycling through a man-to-man defense here. Augustinaite finds herself open again, and it's shooting practice for the junior. She's got 19 points, and Clemson leads by 25.
Good find by Raven Thompson.
Chalk down another assist, number 13 for Clemson compared to just 1 for Pitt, as the Tigers move quickly and get Jahate on the board, her first bucket today. Be interesting to see how Clemson can kind of create their own energy. It is a lackluster crowd here on a Sunday afternoon, and the Tigers know that their success translates directly to the audience that they can draw in. Moore can't connect from the corner. Perriman does well to try to run it down, but it rolls out of bounds.
Good job right there. Here's Raven Thompson finding Augustinaite out there wide open.
When you find yourself in a comfortable lead, what's the hardest thing to stay engaged with if you're Clemson here?
Well, just keep doing the things that you do well, and don't try to force anything. I think they've got to get...
Oh, Moore got hit hard on the nose there. She is still down on the other end. Coach Poppie wants a review coming on what might be flagrant. I'm not sure he's going to get it. Maybe he will.
Yeah, he'll get it.
All right, we didn't quite get it there, Coach, but what Katie Lukanich told us is it did not constitute any flagrant.
It's not a flagrant foul.
In fact, it wasn't a foul at all. So the play was reviewed coming out of that break, and Clemson takes over possession here at 47-24 after an awkward start to this third quarter. And Moore trying to initiate the contact, and she will. So let's go ahead and go back to that last play and see Mia Moore and the strength she showed getting hit in the face. So Jahate gets away with should have been a foul. One silver lining here for Pitt is their bigs are not in any foul trouble. Jahate doesn't have any personal fouls, but Clemson's lead is enough that that might not be a problem. However, we have seen comebacks of large magnitudes around the ACC.
Not been that many fouls called. 8 against Clemson and 6 against Pitt.
Double team comes to Jahate. Hagans is off the mark today. This is the top three-point shooter in the ACC at over 45%. She's 0 for 4 here this afternoon. Harriman with a laser beam picked up by Thompson, and she'll draw the foul and convert as the Tigers eclipse 50.
I don't mean this in any negative connotation, but Raven Thompson is a garbage player. She picks up the garbage just like she did right there and finishes it. And that's a compliment. It's not a negative thing. Every team needs a good garbage player.
Well, Thompson, who has certainly been on the lower end of the shooting numbers. She has not taken as many shots as the coaching staff wants from her, averaging just 5 points a game, but shooting over 60% to lead the team. Now contact in the posts, and there is Jahate's first foul on the offensive variety here with 5:44 to go in another 2+ minute scoring drought for Pitt.
Yep, no doubt about it. Came back into it, might have even thrown an elbow or two, but Billy Smith's all over it.
Drawn by Perriman, who has given up about 3 inches in that matchup. Villegas defending on Moore. 7 seconds to shoot. It's Thompson. She's given up about 7 inches and gets around Jahate, but too strong with the finish. Meanwhile, we have not spoken of Hagans in this half. Here's her first shot. That misses short after a 14-point opening half. Defense has taken over here, but Mia Moore able to sneak it in. Her 4th point of the 3rd, I should say.
Coast to coast. We got to get her started now. And she's not been the Mia Moore going to the basket like she has. Pitt's done a good job with her.
Moore, the team's leader in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game. There's an offensive board brought in by Jahate, and maybe a bit of a gift found on an air ball.
Well, that's the hardest shot to rebound, is an air ball. You're expecting it to hit the rim, and you make the adjustment to get that one, but it just gets on you so quickly you don't know it.
28-point lead, Hannah Kohn, her first trigger shot of the quarter.
2-on-2 break.
Hagans wants to take it herself and draws the foul against Augustinaite, which will take us to a break. 54-26 Clemson on this Sunday.
Actually, it's from Bradley County High School, Bradley Central High School, the same high school that gave us the legendary Amy Guerin.
No way. What's that for a tidbit? As Hagans 0 for 2 from the charity stripe there. You mentioned not a lot of fouls, not a lot of free throws. Clemson 6 for 8, Pitt 4 for 6. As Rose and Hines come back in for Clemson. 10 threes for the Tigers, 1 more, and they will have their 2nd highest total of the season. 14 against American in non-con play as Rachael Rose gets fouled. She'll work her way to the free throw line. And let's talk a little bit more about Rachael Rose here, because she was so prolific at the mid-major level, 2-time SoCon Player of the Year at Wofford. But the word is that she is not playing 100% healthy. And Coach Poppie certainly hoping that she can put on a little bit more muscle as well playing against these ACC guards.
Well, she's obviously going to be, she is a good scorer, no question about it. Pretty heady point guard, not the greatest athlete ever was, but she finds a way to get to the basket sometimes, as she did earlier in this game. But she's a good addition to this team through the transfer portal.
Yeah, certainly has been scrappy here today. A couple turnovers forced. Rose only played 6 games last season for Wofford, as the bump before the pass lead to an off-shot foul, as Clemson leads by 30. You talk about a spot where a team needed a win like this. The Tigers, who have felt like they have played teams that they can compete with, and yet all 4 losses have been to those quad 1 teams. They haven't quite been in those games apart from Louisville. They lost by 11 here in November.
Well, they were in the game at Michigan State against a team that was ranked.
Yeah, 8-point loss against the Spartans. You're right about that. Taylor Matthews connects.
She averaged 14.5 points a game at DePaul last year, and so she can score the basketball.
Started her career at Wright State. Johnson Matthews then went to Pearl City, DePaul, and now Clemson as Perriman wrangles with Rust. Should be a jump ball there. And again, many of these highlights, Coach, have started with Clemson's defense.
No doubt about it. And there's a good job of pinching in. That's what I call pinching. Pinching in by Mia Moore, creating that turnover.
13 turnovers for 17 points off them. Here's Jada Quealy, a freshman from Edmonton, one of 4 Canadians for the Panthers. Rust comes flying in and bumps it out of bounds. So Clemson ball here up by 32 points, late third quarter.
Rust playing with that mask on. That's got to be a distraction, I would think.
Yeah, Rust coming off of 38 minutes a week and a half ago against Mississippi State. She is bodied by Hines for this rebound. Moore. Good decision by Rose, who runs into a wall. Fouled by Macy Arsner, and one for Rachael Rose.
We were just talking about her, weren't we?
Not bad to see a little physicality shown here in ACC play.
All started with a shot fake. Good job with the shot fake right there. Boom, get that big gal out there on her and then blow by her. On the fast closeout, hard closeout, go by them.
Clemson has been nails from the free throw line as well. 9 for 10. After 21 for 23 last week against App State. And now an offensive foul drawn by Moore. And we continue on talking about the prolificness of Rachael Rose. Last season, she was a finalist for the Becky Hammond Mid-Major Player of the Year Award. And this year, the Nancy Lieberman Point Guard of the Year preseason watch list. And Rose has kind of changed her role coming off the bench now, but what do you see from her?
Well, Mia Moore and Rachael Rose both on the floor at the same time, gives them 2-point guard.
And speaking of Moore, she bursts from the side, earns another Clemson and one, and that got the bench for the Tigers on their feet. That might have been something they worked on in practice this week.
Well, I'm sure it is, but Mia Moore's, she's very explosive going to that basket.
Holland Harris, freshman from Orlando. They're in post-perimeter game. Number 0 in white checks in, and Moore cannot convert. A 9-0 run, the third 8-0 run or more in this game for Clemson.
Ironically, Holland Harris and Amaya Jackson both went to Mount Bird Academy in Florida, and so did Fatima.
There you go. Chahate.
Yeah.
As there's a look at Moore's burst on that and one.
Quick's a hiccup.
90 seconds to play in the third. Villegas has found herself in a very tough game plan against Clemson's defense. They forced her to drive. How's this, Coach? Coming in, Carla Villegas was just 2 for 7 on the season, taking 2-point shots.
Yeah,
she's 0 for 3.
I think 58 of her 65 field goal attempts were from 3.
Last year, 63 of her 64 makes were 3-pointers for the Seminoles. They're off to a wacky start, as many ACC teams have been, like Duke and some of the top of that conference, slow to initiate the season, as a 3-second call goes against Hines. You know, it feels like those turnovers don't hurt as much when your defense is locked down, as Pitt on a putback by Jahate ends a 3-minute scoreless drought there.
Jahate's quick off her feet. Got that rebound and right back up with it.
Final few possessions of this third quarter, a game that has really been owned by the Tigers. Pitt started with a burst in the first quarter. They led 5-0. Clemson would end the quarter on a 22-4 run since that 5-0 start. Now the shot clock turned off for Jada Quealy, the floor general of the future for Coach Verdi. She nearly throws it away.
Coach Verdi's a little disappointed in the officiating, it looks like.
10 seconds to shoot. Panthers scored 9 in the first quarter, 10 in the second, 9 here in the third. Rose will not get the shot off. So Clemson takes a 63-20 session following the immediate turnover. Hines doubled. Johnson Matthews can't connect. Look at the size of Harris. Not be kept into a teammate. So Hagans crosses the timeline with over 9 minutes to play. And a Herculean effort needed for the Panthers. Hagans finds a spot and picks up her first bucket of the second half.
She had 14 at the half, and that's the first basket she scored since.
Is there something that Clemson has done defensively against her that you've seen?
I think just probably a good tail chewing by Coach Poppie at halftime.
Hines has a second chance putback, and the offensive boards dominated today by Clemson as well. That is the 9th offensive rebound, compared to 4 for Pitt. As Hagans, well, she's got 5 points in the second half now, all coming in the last 2 possessions.
Didn't take long, did it?
No. The moves from Moore and everything but the finish. Out to Holland Harris, averaging just 1.5 points a game. Harris has been so good defensively in the few minutes she's played.
Future's bright for that young lady.
Taylor Johnson Matthews gets pulled to the ground, but a held ball will come first, and possession moves over to Pitt. We'll move back to 2 possessions ago. What does Hagans do here? Does she have a spot that she wants to find?
Well, she came off the screen by Fatima there, and she's just looking to get to the basket. The help was there, and she just pulled up for the short jumper. Hagans Jr.
Ooh, yeah, you know, we did a little bit of research on that, as Johnson is going to get teed up for talking trash following the non-call on Johnson Matthews, who was trying to draw the charge, no call, and then Michaela Johnson did what many wide receivers do in football, which was let them hear about it after making the play.
A technical foul on the Panthers.
Let's take a look.
That's a lot.
So Kohn takes the technical shots and makes both of them, as Hannah gets to 13 points. Kohn. Good rebound. Hines now with 5 offensive rebounds. She has been a presence in that second chance game. seconds to shoot for more. Crafting through. Mia Moore gets herself to double digits yet again. That is the 8th time this season. Tigers just suffocating on defense today. Pitt shooting 33%. Really looking all game long, trying to find answers. Thompson brings in the board from the Hagans shot. Raven takes a 3, that looks good. It brings up another offensive rebound, number 6 offensively for Hines. Her 8th total board. Oh, and this was a pretty play, but Kohn steps on the baseline before making the pass. But we look at that previous bucket, again orchestrated by Hines.
Yep. Good screen right there coming off that screen. Mia Moore goes to her right really, really well. I can't understand why teams don't make her go to the left a little more, although she can go to the left. But goes to the right much, much better.
Ooh. Oh, there's a collision as Johnson Matthews brings in the board. Bit of an ACC Network extra on New Year's Day. It's a 7 p.m. start. And you look at the schedule as a Clemson fan, and if they can play like they did today, you find yourself right in the mix come mid-December.
I think so.
Five seconds to shoot. Taylor Johnson Matthews. Turn the other way.
Really impressed with the offensive rebounding effort by Tamira Hines.
Audrey Biggs in the game. Number 22 in blue. Sophomore from Kentucky, as Hagans is certainly not afraid to shoot. She has 15 shots today, 8 of them converted, as that's a great rebound by Harris. We talk about her size. At 6'1", it feels like she plays even larger.
She does. She's a great athlete.
Second, 13.
Oh, a little inbound look for Hines, goes through the wickets. Hagans bursting the other way. She'll eclipse 20 points and a new career high for the freshman.
Good player.
21 of 37. When you look at what this game meant for Clemson, good sign for the future. When you come into a situation against a team out of the top 100, you need a win, and it has been a convincing one.
Exclamation point.
Pitt coming off of a loss to Mississippi State. They have wins against Cornell, Robert Morris, Chicago State, a common opponent this season. Oh, head back home Thursday to take on St. Francis. I'll show you Pitt's schedule here in a minute as Rose drives with the left, and Rachael Rose has had a big-time conference game to put under her belt with 12 points. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal for Rose. As we'll step away and tell you about Pitt's upcoming schedule.
The team that needs to get a few more touches inside. She needs to be a factor at 6'5" and a wingspan. Get her and she and Harris involved in some, Hagans involved in some pick and roll action.
Rachael Rose gets whistled for the foul. Non-shooting. And the first Clemson foul of the quarter. We definitely saw today that Clemson can wake up for a midday game. They're going to have to get up a little earlier for that 11 a.m. start on Wednesday in Charleston.
Yeah, they actually had an 11 o'clock game here. They called it Education Day.
Yep.
I can't remember who.
That was against Upstate, I believe. Yeah. Opening day.
Yep.
And a 76-38 win. Kind of similar to what we have here today.
Right.
Off the bench, Morgan Lee takes a three. The bench wanted that badly behind her, the Marish transfer. And Clemson has gone cold from the three-point line. They had 10 at the beginning of the quarter, sitting still at 10, tied for their third highest mark this year. Chahate. Shot puts that one in.
Yeah.
To get to 39. Kohn tries to feed it into Lee, but Biggs is there for a nice takeaway. Off balance on that feed. In the corner, Amia Jenkins turns it over. Clemson has forced 17 Pitt turnovers, 19 points off them. That'll go the other way, right in front of Coach Poppie. And you know, one thing that we have learned here today is that Pitt has a star in the making with the freshman Theresa Hagans Jr. We'll go ahead and look. This is before today's game. She's averaging 10 points a game as a starter, and I have a good feeling she's going to stay in that starting five.
No doubt about it. 21 points today is really good showing. Scored in a lot of different ways. A little bit of a push-off there by...
Yep, second foul of the quarter for Clemson. Coming up Tuesday night on the men's side here from Littlejohn. Won't want to miss it on ESPN2 as the Gamecocks and the Tigers clash. Another notch in that Palmetto rivalry. That's good hustle by Lee to rip it away. Picked up by Morgan Miller, the sophomore. One of the few non-transfers. In fact, the only non-freshman non-transfer for Clemson. As Amaya Jackson comes in as well. Here is Jackson, the freshman, getting fouled by Rust. She'll have a chance to add some points to the score line today as Clemson gets by 70 and are feeling like they're in the spirit for an ACC victory.
No doubt about it. You know, we spoke earlier about the top 5 recruiting class that he's had. The freshman class that he has right now with Jackson and there's a sophomore Miller coming in there making a play.
How about this? Holland Harris earns the contact and finishes for the and one. Clemson, they have scored 70 or more points in all 7 wins now, and they have not done so in any of the losses. As we take a look at this second chance effort again off the Morgan shot.
Harris and Jackson are very good freshmen to go with that recruiting class that he's got coming in. Be young, but you know, if a dog's gonna bite you, it'll bite you when it's a pup.
Won't hurt as much. 23 points for Hagans. More than half of the Panthers' total scored by the freshman. As Jackson, oh my goodness, had everything but the netting.
I've never seen a ball hit the rim that many times and not go in.
It went back front, back front, back front.
Back out.
Double dribble goes against Harris. Final few possessions of this one. And I mentioned that Pitt had a 5-0 lead. Clemson outscored them 22-4 to finish out that first quarter. Another 22-point output in the third quarter. And Clemson with a statement sent out around the ACC. They do not belong where they were picked preseason. The Tigers defeat Pitt by 32 points, behind 13 by Kohn, 19 from Augustinaite.